Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Lenina, and I'm going to be using the 20th Panzergrenadier with the balanced deployment type on the Axis side. This was probably one of the best 4v4s that I've played in a long time, and therefore wanted to share with you guys. It came down to a few things. One, it's Lenina. It's probably one of my favourite 4v4 maps. We're going to be playing with the 20th Panzergren, which is an interesting and fun division with a lot of unicorn units. And finally, we're up against Rare, Ely and Lithington on the enemy team, who put up a great fight in a game previous to this and wanted to have another go. So here they are again, playing as a team with Inky joining them. Let's just go through my strategy quickly here with the 20th Panzergren. I did decide to go for quite an unorthodox strategy, something that I don't do too often. It's a little bit cheesy. Got two off-map planes. So my plan was to basically off-map the town on the far side so that we could get a bit of an advantage early on. And I'm going to be covering those off-map planes with two of the Flak Panzers. So I got the Flak Panzer T-34 and the Flak Panzer Panther. The 20th Panzergren is the only division to get these, and you can get one of each. They aren't exactly cheap. You know, this one's 130 points. The Flak Panzer Panther is 140 points. But they do put out a lot of damage. And if used together, they're very hard to kill and are very lethal. So it's a great combination of AA pieces. Just two flak fillings basically on armoured hulls. And it can just become very, very oppressive throughout the game. But we're off. And I'm going to be bringing out those two off-map planes, of course, to get the ball rolling and allowing myself and James to make ground in this town. Because I'm going to basically be controlling the left side here, and James is going to be pushing into the right-hand side. But our plans are quickly changed as Lithington brings in the Recon Mosquito, followed up by the bombers. We've got the Tempest bombing away, you've got the P-47 bombing away. And that's going to be delaying this convoy massively. James even loses some of his Valkyr. On the left-hand side, IL-2s force me to unload my transports early. Does turn his IL-2s around. BF-109, I think, was brought in to try and intercept the IL-2s. Ended up getting itself in a bit of a pickle as the Mustang Mark IIIs come in to intercept it. Do manage to get on the back and shoot it down. Yeah, the Panzergrens gonna have to walk into the town, and this was a really, really bad start. The exact opposite of what I had hoped. I had hoped that my off-map would be able to allow us to get an advantage in the town, but we ended up giving them an advantage due to the initial attacks from their aircraft. So a nice coordinated attack there definitely threw me off. These Panzergrens going to be taking time to get to their positions, but the IL-237 coming in for the bombing strike onto the Kubel MG, going to gift me one kill for the Flak Panzers, and I did manage to get my off-map planes back in to drop their strikes. So wasn't all bad. If they'd bombed and then shot down my off-map aircraft, it would have been even worse, but thankfully I still managed to get those off-map shots in, and they'll be coming down shortly. But meanwhile, yeah, the Panzergrens are going to have to walk on round. They're currently getting hit by the IS-2 here. The other way that I was thinking of starting this game was using an elephant, because 20th Panzergren, they can get a lot of elephants, and usually they can control the open ground very well with those elephants. But I opted not to bring one in early on, because usually what will happen in an open range engagement like this is you'll bring in a King Tiger, you'll bring in an elephant, and then it'll just kind of sit there, because your opponent's not going to show anything to your elephant or your King Tiger. It's just going to back off until it gets RT'd or something, and then you have to fall back, and you end up in this like weird back and forth where nobody dies, and then you just waste your points where you could be like pushing elsewhere. Nice kill onto the Mosquito there. These things are actually made of paper, so Flak Panzer managing to get the job done, and I'm going to consolidate them now in order to allow them to get kills easier. So if they're both next to each other, if a plane dives in, then they're going to have extra damage on the front of the plane, and that would hopefully be enough to kill it. But Valkor moving through here, thanks to my off-map, he manages to surrender quite a lot of units, gets really, really far up, actually going to get right into the face of the M1 gun. Unfortunately, the Tempest there going to be forcing him out of the transports, but he's still in a good position, gets on top of the 6-pounder, going to be getting on top of the 107mm mortar as well, and with the MP44s in range, that's definitely a goner. So great move by James to get through and capture this offensive flag early on thanks to that off map. So even though we did get hit by the aircraft early on, and James is still getting hit by the aircraft, he has managed to make ground, so that's good, thanks to the early off map play. But I've still got to take back the left side of the town, and the way I'm doing that is just moving my Panzergrens around. I've got my line of sight onto the Sapari docks, and I'm able to kill that off. I've also got the Aufklärer now coming up to help out. I'm going to be using this Aufklärer quite offensively. I've been doing this more often lately, where I get these 2-man recon squads and I sneak them forwards so that they can see into the edge of towns without being spotted themselves due to the exceptional optics, particularly when you have them in light cover. It's really nice. But Tempest again coming in with a bombing strike there, IL-2 even coming in for kills onto enemy armor. I'm able to get a nice kill though onto the ZIS-42 there, probably some sort of support weapon. Pop that with the PAK-40 that was unloaded early. And I've also brought up an IG, and you can see this has actually come up in a Moonwagen, another nice unit that the 20th Panzergrenadier get. They can also get, I believe, T-34 holes with supply as well, so it's really cool. And to get a nice transport snipe onto the Studbecker before it gets into cover. But both fighters going to be coming in on the left side. Do manage to strafe one of the PAK-40s to death. But the Black Panzer Panthers now with veterancy going to be able to shoot down at least one of them. The Bowfighter Mark 10 does go down. So yeah, the Pioneer Führer, I brought in one squad for each of these Flak Panzer Panthers, ended up spreading them out again because I thought that it was maybe a bad idea. If I did get overwhelmed by the amount of aircraft that they brought in at the start all at once, then I could potentially lose both of the Flak Panzer Panthers at the same time. But off map, going to be coming down once again, hoping to help Grim Guy now with James here, push through the town. Inky coming in with the Bowfighter Mark 10 again, but that is of course going to get shot down. These Flak Panzer Panthers and Flak Panzer T-34s are so good. They really, really are. It's actually crazy. I mean, it is just 2 flak fillings, but having an armoured hull as well makes them so safe. It's really, really nice. And the strafing runs still managed to force back my Panzergrens, and the air landing's able to get the better of us because of that. Same with this Tempest coming in. You know, it's getting the bombing strike, it's forcing my Panzergrens back, but over time, if we actually end up shooting these down, like we just did there with the Tempest kill from the Gepards, that's good. You know, we're basically draining some of the power that they invested into at the start of the game. And as long as we can keep killing those aircraft with the AA, then eventually I can build up enough infantry on the ground to overwhelm them, because a lot of the points that they put in the aircraft won't be on the ground instead. So there's probably barely any infantry here that's capturing this. It's just I don't really have enough to push into heavy cover just yet. So that is like kind of the primary issue. But I've gone ahead and I've brought up an elephant here. That's going to be able to challenge the IS-2. And stop that from being so dominant, and that's basically what it's there for. It's not necessarily here to push forwards and get loads of kills. It's quite simply there to neutralize the IS-2 and stop it engaging my units in the open. And therefore what I can do in that position is cover off the IS-2 and then move my own infantry forwards, whilst he can't do much about that other than using maybe his aircraft again. But since I do have the 2 Flak Panzer Panthers up, and they're also now connected to my commander, both of my Flak Panzers are to Vet, and the commander is going to be very, very important to make these Flak Panzer really, really strong throughout this game. I've also now brought up an 81mm mortar. This was mainly to make use of the Moonwagen that came in with the IG. The IG is not really going to make much use of the Moonwagen over time, unless it, you know, has constant shots onto the enemy. So bringing in the 81mm mortar, it just gives me a way to sort of use up that supply, and I'm going to use it in this case to soften up the enemy infantry near this flag. I've got the last strikes coming in here from the off-map planes. These do get 3 strikes each with the 172mm off-map. And so far it's been pretty helpful. So I'm trying to get it into position, managed to drop it there. This one, I'm trying to get it close enough, unfortunately gets forced to fall back before I can use it. And the second shot comes in from the 85 and it gets shot down. So I managed to get 5 out of 6 of the off-maps down, which was good. Actually, more than good. Like, that was really good considering the circumstance. I definitely nearly lost them at the start, but since they managed to stay alive and then get another five rounds down, that was really nice. But good job by Grim Guy, his Fallschirmjäger here. Going to be able to surrender a bunch of infantry. Now the off-map's going to come down. I was a little bit worried that it would pin his Fallschirmjäger like that. And it is going to pin my Panzergrenadiers. It's the trouble with 172mm, is especially if it hits on the very edge, it can kind of pin your own units. So you've got to be a little bit careful. And it doesn't look like it really pinned the enemy infantry on the left side instead. It kind of just pinned my own units. But I do still have the mortar that can capitalise. And I've got a couple more mortars on the way to make more use out of this supply. Because it does get 10,000 supply, which is actually quite a lot. So the SBW-231 is going to be pushing into enemy territory. They can't surrender any of these units though, so it would have been nice if they could, but they can't. And the Panzertreck is going to recover. The Gavadi DP is going to recover. The 231s were facing the wrong way with the turrets, so these are going to almost get another shot off. IL-237 does get shot down, and that's another aircraft gone, thanks to the Black Panzers. And since we did have a decent ground in the town again, I'm actually going to get the Flak Panzers further up so I can start to deal with the likes of these P-47s and Tempests that are constantly harassing the infantry that Grim Guy and James are trying to use in the town here. And one of the transport or recon vehicles did go down. IS-2 is going to clean up the other one. Nothing much I can do about that. Yeah, I have the Elephant here, but that's hiding behind the heavy cover, firing over the town. So I'd have to have the Elephant over here, and I do eventually move it over there. The mortar's going to be firing away. Basically the whole idea is for me to get into this town and surrender them, but as you can see, enemy off-map now coming in, which is fair because we've off-mapped the crap out of them. I'm just worried that my Flak Panzer is going to get caught in that, and it nearly does. So just reversing that well out of the way. Yes, my Panzer are going to get pinned down, but don't take too much damage. Over on the left, Elephant, really lucky not to get hit by any of those rockets. Typhoon completely whiffs. Probably the most luck I've had against a Typhoon ever. Double air landing. Going to be what we turn up against in these buildings. And that's good because the IG is just going to be able to pop them potentially if the Panzergrenadier doesn't. And we're going to be able to capture the opposing flag there. 81mm mortars are just going to continue firing away, using up this supply as much as possible. Stug 4, got to be careful that doesn't get popped by the IS-2 because it does still have a good line of sight there. Getting the Elephant as far as up as I can to try and hit that IS-2 from here, but just realizing that I'm not able to really get the shot on that I want. Loads of mortar fire coming down. If I can get infantry back into here, then it allows me to take this flag. But IL-237 coming in again from Elate. Didn't learn the first 2 times. And then of course is going to get shot down by the Flak Panzers. More off-map coming down. Kills off one of the Panzergrenadiers, forces the Stug back. IS-2's getting ready to fire, but the Stug's going to move just out of range. The IS-2 is trying to like wiggle its way forwards to get a shot on target. Panzergren engaging the guards. But this Panzergren has managed to find its way into this building. It's going to get bombed by the Tempest. There's also another Tempest coming in there, bombing the building. But one man is all I need to capture this, so I wasn't too sad about that. As long as I can just keep him crawling towards that building and he gets inside, I can put him on return fire. And as long as they don't bomb or mortar that again, I'll capture the flag for a while. Enemy rockets coming in. Going to be going for the 81mm mortars. Katyusha probably, so it's quite a large spread from that distance. Didn't end up getting either of the kills. I'm quite happy about that. Stug 4 still coming under fire from the IS-2. IS-2 though 35% accurate at that range, so fortunate to not get killed. Taking out a lot of these transports. Managed to take out 3 with the Elephant before they unload. I'm trying to now get the Panzergren to hide behind the building while they kill the engineer unit there, but the IG not quite able to get line of sight just yet. So I'm going to start fire positioning towards the backside of this building so that I can knock that out. Now Typhoon coming in again from the left hand side. This time I've covered off the left side with the 37mm AA and the 88. So that Typhoon having a real bad time and does get shot down. IG meanwhile still taking out the AB engineers, and I'm able to take back control of that flag. Another IL-2 37 coming in is going to take out a Panzer IV, but does go down. As I mentioned before, just got to keep killing the enemy aircraft slowly but surely, build up my forces on the ground, and then push back. And I'm going to be able to control the left side pretty well against the IS-2s. The IG is covering off against the Zapore, so that's good. And he's kind of just struggling to get back this flag right now, and this is the beauty of the Elephant in this situation. Yeah, the Elephant's not going to get any enemy armor kills, but it does provide enough presence that he can't do anything about it. And I can just walk up my own infantry to go and capture that. Now at the start of the game I did also put a PaK 40 and an IG 33 up on this hill. These guys have great vantage point over the town. It's really nice. Here comes the Katyusha. Again, this time onto the Elephant. Looking to weaken that or pin it down if it can get enough rockets on target. Not able to this time. Also smoking it off though, which is going to allow the M4A1 to come forwards and support the Zapore. But another Tempest going to get shot down by the Flak Panzers, and also another 37mm. So I've got 2 37s, I've got the 2 Flak Panzers, I've got the 88. Good stuff. Also got the GO 145 floating about. This is just acting as recon now, because it has of course run out of off-map strikes. Yeah, slowly but surely just moving forwards with the Panzergrens. They are being picked off for the time being, which is why I'm having to use the mortars so much to soften up the enemy forces. Grim guys, Fallschirmjäger really having to pick up the slack at the moment because I wasn't doing the best. And the M4A1's managed to move all the way up and now out of line of sight of the Elephant thanks to the smoke. So a good play by the enemy to get that done. My 37 here actually providing some fire support though onto the Zapore rocks, which is nice. And Zapore rocks is definitely an infantry squad I don't really have much to deal with. One trouble you do have with the 20th Panzergren is that you don't have much in the way of close range infantry. So you're kind of reliant on these Panzergrens, which can obviously demolish enemy infantry at longer ranges. But against something like a Zapore rocks at 100 meters, no chance. And even if you had like the Pioneers in that I think you can get, still not really going to have a chance. Double Ju-87. Very ambitious here from James. Going deep for the IS-2. And not able to make it. But my Panzergren's in a nice position now. And with mortar support, will be able to surrender enemy infantry if it gets too close. So that is something I was kind of counting on there. But with the M4A1 behind this building, I'm going to have something over on the left if I actually want to kill this. Or I can start fire positioning with the IG, but I can't do that while the smoke's here, so that was something. More off-map coming down. I was actually quite happy that we had a lot of off-map going on in the early game, because we're just getting to the end of Phase B, and it means if he's got the 381 mil in Phase B, he's probably only got one card of it, and he's got like 3 strikes or 2 strikes, and that means that there's not really much for the rest of the game. We've already been off-mapped here as well, so the amount of cards that they could have has been greatly reduced for a longer game. And since we're on the back foot early, and we're going to be coming back in the late game, that's good for us. Whereas if they had their off-map in the late game, they could delay long enough to potentially win. Because currently, they've already taken away half of our tickets. You know, there's only 20 minutes until we lose. So, we like that initial bombing strike, the whole initial bombing strike really did like a number on our initial town engagement. The off-map definitely gave James the chance to grab this flag, but then he got pushed back by abundance of off-map in the opposite direction. So yeah, things were a bit to and fro, and now we're obviously being hit by a bunch of artillery as well. Any advance that's being made into this town is not going too great. But Panzergrens in a nice position here, do have their Panzerfausts, and they're going to be using it to engage the Centaur. The Centaur took its time to turn its turret around, and the Panzergrens get the kill off. Here we go again with the Katyushas. And since we pinned down that infantry squad, my Panzergren in a perfect position to take them out. This Ox and Buck's getting low. As soon as they get pinned, surrender. And that's what I was saying earlier about this Panzergren being a really nice position, because it's basically in this compound where it's kind of blocked line of sight on all sides. So if I just pin anything around it, either with the mortars or in this case Grimguy's infantry doing it, I can surrender stuff quite easily without actually having to directly engage it. And this is how you deal with superior close range infantry when you don't have much of your own. Now, I did also notice that we lost this flag. It's quite an easy one to take back for our team, unless they have like some decent AT up here or long range fire support. You can just bring up infantry and get into there quite easily. But M4A1 Rhino going to go down to that Pack 40. This is just such a good position. If you ever want to bring an AT gun on Lenina, bring it in here, because it covers the back side of the town so well. It can fire over these trees towards the bridge as well. The Panzergrens now really getting the better of this town. The veterancy here from the Fallschirmjäger really helping out as well. I was too busy kind of leaving my leaders back for the Elephant and the AA, so I didn't really want to like overcommit my leaders forwards, because I didn't really have that much in the way of leaders in this deck, because I think I had double commander. I have the SDK of Z261, which is kind of like my backside commander, and I also have the Tiger P, which is like the unicorn unit, which generally you want to use more offensively. So I've got 2 commanders just in case that one goes down. Also, this commander is way cheaper than the Tiger, so that also is a reason that I have 2. Panzergren going to go down. Elephant's still providing nice fire support though, onto the guards. But with the air landing coming in, those Panzergrens going to get dealt with at close range. Too many submachine guns for us to deal with. 2 Panzergrens are going to get pinned. Ju-87 gets shot out the sky. We've got enemy artillery coming in on the Elephant, but we have managed to find 17 to 15 thanks to Martin's good push out in the open here. He's managed to catch this flag on the right hand side. Now, this flag starts on our side of the map, and there's not any flag on their side of the forest, so it is this flag that you need to go for whenever you're on this side of the map. Stug looking for the kill onto the T-34E. Since this is a Stug 4, it does get slightly more front armor, and it does make a big difference in engagements like this at closer ranges. Allows you to bounce a lot more shots that you would otherwise end up being penetrated by. That elephant being forced to fall back, and I've now got 3 elephants on the field. So at the start, my thought was that I wasn't really going to use elephants much. But basically what I ended up doing was, since I had so much AA up, I felt safe to use my elephants more aggressively. And so that's what I was doing. I was having them cover multiple directions, so Ele's trying to move forwards with his IS-2, and I can just cover it off with the elephant. Same deal here. And then I've also got the one up on the hill, which is there to kind of cover any units that get overly aggressive. But Stug 4 still going to go down, unfortunately. I think that was a shot from a IS-2 there that killed it. 88 going to pop the M8. Yeah, sitting at 17 to 15 is pretty nice. So yeah, Martin again doing a good job here on the left hand side, taking a lot of the pressure off and allowing us to just kind of regroup with these Panzergrenadiers. So now we're in phase C. You can see I'm relying on these Panzergrenadier DP. Panzergrenadier DP are not the best. They are kind of just chaff infantry. You know, they've got MP40, Kar 98 and 2 DPs. Like, it doesn't really get much worse in terms of a loadout, but they're only 20 points. So the idea is that I'm doing the same thing as I was doing with this Panzergrenadier, where I'm pinning down the units surrounding me and then just running these forwards to capitalize. Meanwhile, James has brought up his Sturmtigers out in the open. A little bit risky having them side by side there because they don't like to sit still, and therefore they get themselves side shot. I'm going to be helping fire at this M4A1. I have turned off the heat shell so that the IG automatically fires its HE at the M4A1, and over time it will eventually kill the M4A1. Panzergrenadiers engaging the Sapperday. Because the front line isn't over the Sapperday, they're not surrendering. But IG is going to kill the M4A1. It's going to be a good kill. And James is going to be pushing onto that flag with his Sturmtigers, which is, again, very risky. Even the T-34E here could potentially side shot. There's this 2 getting a shot in as well. Yeah, that Sturmtiger going down. This one really way too far up at the moment. That's actually a Zis 3, not even a Zis 2. And it's going to pull that one back. And the front armor, like a IS-2, it's going to struggle to kill a Sturmtiger. At this range, maybe not so much, but yeah, lucky to have that second one alive in my opinion. Definitely got way too deep. And one problem that you do kind of bump into with in the trade there, Sturmtiger goes down for the IS-2. One problem you do bump into when you start using things like these Panzergrenadier DP is a lack of AT. So I'm not able to kill this M4A1 because my Panzergrenadier DP don't have Panzerfaust. So that's when you have to start bringing in like your own sort of medium armor, if you have any, to counter enemy medium armor at close range. But of course the Shermans are generally going to be better. So I'm kind of crutching on Grimguy a bit more with this Panzerfaust on the Fallschirmjägers to get the job done. James is also going to be rushing in with a bunch of these Panzergrenadiers now, the Panzergrenadier Hermann Göring, pushing forwards. And I've got more Jagdpanzers on the way, I've got Panzerschrecks on the way. So Jagdpanzers was my solution to this sort of close range medium armor problem, because the T-34s and Shermans really struggle to kill Jagdpanzers at close range. The only thing you've of course got to be careful of in the town is side shots. So yeah, that was obviously be a problem. Again, James going really deep in the mid here, unloading his Panzergrenadiers. We'll be able to get a lot of MG down onto the 6-pounder there. The P-47's coming in for the bombing strikes onto the infantry out in the open. That's an oof. Getting low on health pretty quick. But it is holding us the extra flag that we need, since we did lose this flag temporarily. 2 Stug 4 is going to be coming in now. These are another solution to the closer range engagements. I've already taken out some T-34s with them. Mortars again helping with the tank engagement there. The other nice thing about Stugs is I have them at like 1 vet. So with veterancy, they get 3 vet, and super strong on a Stug, because they already have 7 round per minute rate of fire, whereas a lot of tanks only have 6 round per minute rate of fire. So you can really dominate the medium armor engagements. But the Jagdpanzers are definitely going to capitalize even more on that. Elephant providing fire support with its HE. These Panzergrens, though, I mean, they didn't do as bad as I thought they would when they charged forwards. You know, they're still holding a decent amount of ground here. Going to be able to take out the enemy recon there as well, and blinding the enemy in the open. That's really, really good for my units further back. So I was relatively happy with the situation. The only thing, obviously, is at 28 minutes and 20 seconds left until victory. So a little ways to go. Still technically on a 1 tick, not a 2 tick. We've got a BF-109 G6 hanging about. I think I brought that in on the left to kind of try and shoot something down, and then I flew it over my back line so that I could deal with enemy aircraft should they come in. But mortars still firing away. I've still got all 4 alive. I've even had to bring in some more supply to keep these going. They're providing a lot of support. I've also brought in an SK-18. Now these 105s, they used to be, I could have sworn they used to be way better at counter battering. But I was struggling to get much performance out of them this game. I did just bring it in to counter battery because there was so much artillery coming in. You can just see the trails of all the different artillery pieces. It's actually nuts. Alright, Stug helping with the support on the left. Grim guy trying to take out the ZIS-3. Actually, no, he's firing up at the 85. There's also now the Centaurs up there, so it's going to be able to engage those. But making good progress with his infantry. Falchion Pioneer getting nice and close. Falchion Jaeger at close range doing lots of damage. My current Panzergrenadier DP going to be engaging the enemy infantry. And I was actually mortaring this area as they came in. So able to kill off a couple transports before they unload, which was really good. And now moving even further forwards to engage these Centaurs alongside James's Tigers, which is also pushed forwards. And he's still got a lot of this infantry alive, so that was really good. Manages to kill off one of the M17s. We briefly went 19 to 13. But mortars firing away once more, trying to deal damage on the left hand side. Just keep pinning down the infantry as we keep advancing. 85 goes down and the Centaur goes down. 85 is now firing back at the Stugs, but both the Tiger and the Stug firing at it should be able to help pin it down if it doesn't fall back because of the artillery. And now able to kill the Centaur. So really starting to rack up quite a lot of kills here with the artillery. Also James has his Hummels and the Vespa. There's a lot of fire coming down. I think the Hummels are going for counter battery at the moment as well, which was nice, because we definitely needed to get on top of this counter battery because it was certainly becoming quite oppressive. But I also have a feeling that them investing so much into artillery definitely didn't help throughout the game, because they invested a lot into aircraft early on and we ended up kind of locking that down. You know, I've got the 2 Flak 37s, I've got the Flak Panzers, I've got the 88s up. And then they invested a lot into artillery, so they've gone aircraft and artillery, and then they don't have as much to invest into the town. And that basically means that we end up with this nice sort of armor advantage on top of our infantry. So the idea for them would be, oh, we purchased a lot of aircraft, we purchased a lot of artillery, now we're going to purchase infantry to hold the town. But it's the infantry and armor combination that can quite often really do the work, and that is what's allowing us to continue the push here. But this IS-2 is certainly going to cause issues, so I'm going to have to get the Elephant into the right position, so I've got that on an attack move moving forwards. James is trying to get his Tiger group here to work on the hill, but ended up bumping into the 85 and had a 6-pounder on his flank, so that wasn't too great. But yeah, Typhoon coming in, getting shot down really fast. P-47 comes in, doesn't even get its rockets off. Also going to be taking a ton of damage and get shot down, because I've moved up my commander now, and it's directly next to my Flak Panzer Panthers and the Flak Panzer T-34. And the AA just really showing up this game. Having both of these in from the start really started to shut down a lot of this aircraft play. And the main thing that they could do in order to stop this from being effective is obviously try and RT it whenever they see it fire, but also bring in more than one plane at a time. And like Ile was kind of struggling with this at the start, where he was bringing like one of his IL-2s at a time and they were constantly getting shot down. And then like later into the game there you can see Reyes bringing in his planes one by one, and Lithington brought in his one by one, and that just means that you have all of the AA focused on one aircraft every time that an aircraft comes in, and they always die. Whereas if there was like even two aircraft, there's a good chance that if they're a fast aircraft they'll get out alive. Jagdpanzer here really helping out a lot, projecting outside of the town. Mortar fire coming in from Grimguy is going to pin down these paras, and I've brought up my T-34 to get shots on as well, and I actually end up getting a double kill with the Flak Panzer T-34, so that was nice. One of my 37mm is finally going to go down, but I'm going to replace it with 2 more 88s, so just really trying to shut down the airplay. We are up against the 2nd, and we are up against the 6th Airborne, so plenty more where this came from. Now this Tiger a bit too far up for my AA to be able to do anything in that situation, so it was unfortunate. But P-47 going to be flying overhead. The T-34 and the Flak Panzer Panther have to reload, so that's going to get away as well. And you can see that fast aircraft do manage to get away with it. And if you have just more than one, then it makes all the difference. Anyway, Elephant here in its absolute prime. This is the perfect situation for an Elephant because it has so much front armor and it's able to just dominate the IS-2s. The Challengers being brought up now to try and get shots off as well. Each of those Challengers does have a 17-pounder, so do have to be a little bit careful. The nice thing about my Elephant in this situation is it's kind of just sat in the back garden, so it's not always in line of sight of the hill. Like I can just reverse slightly if I want to. Anyway, that looks cool, doesn't it? The aircraft flying overhead, the rockets coming in, and the JW7 getting shot down as well. Very cool. Anyway, the rockets miss. On the right hand side we're under a bit of pressure here. Lithington has found a hole in the defences of Grimguy. Since I believe Grimguy obviously was helping us quite heavily in the town, the right side kind of got neglected, and so it went back to a 19-13, which still isn't enough for its double tick. You need 20 flags on Lenina in order to get the double tick, so little ways to go. James making excuses for his losses after all of his Panzergrens died. His Tigers are all dead now. That's okay. No, he is correct. His suicide push here was actually, in a lot of ways, it worked. It could have been done a lot better, in my opinion, but it definitely worked. On the left, I managed to shoot down the Tu-2F that was giving recon information, so that was good. Fallschirmjäger going to be wrecking those AB paras at range. So that's a nasty combination. The Para Commando providing the 2-star vet on all these Panzergrens, and they take back that flag, no problemo. Artillery coming in onto the Elephant still. Unfortunately, my Pioneer Führer is going to be the one that pays the price. I'm going to have to fall that back, but this Elephant is in position to cover the advance of any other armour that comes up on this hill. Tiger's going to get one shot in, Elephant's going to get the second to get the kill. I've got my Panzergrens now pushing up aggressively. One of them gets killed very quickly by the PTRD on the left. The other one is forced to unload. I'm bringing up now Jagdpanzer on the right to help armor-wise, to block off the reinforcements coming in from Lithington. And just going to continue to try and get presence outside of the town. Maybe get some presence over the bridge. just focusing on getting the kills onto the IS-2s. Still needed to unload my 88s, hadn't done that yet. As soon as any aircraft came in, I would do it. But yeah, Panzergren's gonna get taken out. On the right, Pioneer sitting nicely in position now. BF-109's floating around. What I'm going to end up doing is actually giving them the commands to strafe these AV paras, so the MG and the PaK-40 and stuff here can maybe get some surrenders in. I've also got Ju-87s on the way. Now this is pretty safe for the Ju-87s. Usually you don't see Ju-87s because they die very easily to enemy AA. But when there's no AA, they have some of the best payloads and some of the best accuracy. And this is our Ju-87 Ace Brook, who's coming in with the bombing strike onto the AV paras, able to clean them up quite nicely. BF-109 coming in there with the strafing run as well, finishes off another unit. I did end up using a Jagdpanzer and the Stug over here in the meantime, but killed off an M1 howitzer. That was good. Another Panzergren pushing up the hill just to keep presence there. Meanwhile on the left, Martin again really doing very well, getting deep into enemy lines here against Inky. Mainly, well, probably because Inky is using NOV, which is probably deemed to be one of the worst divisions in the game right now. But either way, can't discredit Martin, who's really taken advantage of that. P-38 going to be shooting down, well, going to be getting shot down by my AA, and I've got more Ju-87s coming in on the right hand side as there is no AA here, which is, you know, easy for me to see by the fact that my BF-109s are not being shot at. So my BF-109 I think ended up strafing the Cromwell to death because it does have a 30mm cannon. So my Ju-87s actually ended up losing target there and not getting the kill. But nice kill onto the enemy 85. I also killed another IS-2 1944 on the ridge in the meantime. I'm actually going to end up moving the 88s even further forwards to help protect the Elephant. And the P-47 coming in. So again, this is where I was saying about just having 2 aircraft would be enough to stop these from being as effective. The P-47 gets through cleanly because I was firing at the bomber instead of the rocket plane, or at least, you know, my units were firing at the bomber automatically. So the Elephant's dead, but we did manage to at least reply with the kill onto the aircraft, and the Ju-87 does manage to pick off the Cromwells. I also lost my Jagdpanzer on the right, so bringing up the Stugs now to take their place, but back up to 20 to 12 for the Panzergren's getting that flag briefly. And this Panzergren managing to get the shots onto the Bofors, which is forcing that back. This Panzergren's managed to get up onto this ridge. Again, just continuing to push out. And that's actually going to force me to move up my mortars because they're no longer in range to actually give decent fire support. Yeah, this was like a super fun game because, as you can see, we had a really tough start against all of the enemy aircraft and such, but now with our superior Axis forces, we've come back in the late game and we've got ourselves into a really good position that they're struggling to get themselves out of. Like, even the 6 challengers can't get the job done, so that's just giving us flags, and James being super aggressive here is actually really helpful because it just constantly puts pressure on these flags that delays their forces so much more. So whilst he will be taking a lot of losses, you know, and probably shouldn't be in situations like this where his Panzer IV is unsupported against Avtos, like, he's still doing a good job. I did move up a Panzerstreck here. This is a super cheeky place to have a Panzerstreck because I can sit it like here, and anytime a vehicle peaks, it's going to die. Ju-87's coming in again for their bombing strikes, looking for the kill onto the 17-pounder. We have a lot of armor here, so I was really hoping that I could get the job done. Centaurs actually ended up killing my Stug 4 after it got hit by the after it got hit by the 17-pounder. Yeah, managed to kill off the 17-pounder at least. Ju-87 kind of whiffs on the second bombing strike there. Cromwell, though, going to go down to the Panther on the hill. 11 minutes left on the clock though, so still plenty to do. Elephant going to be engaging the Rhino, popping that nicely. Elephant's just very, very difficult to deal with in this situation. I really like seeing the Elephant in Steel Division 2. It was a unit that took a long time to get added. And the thing is with the Elephant, the reason I've always been a massive fan of it is because in, I believe it was Call of Duty United Offensive, in the multiplayer, the Russians had the ISU-152, and then the Elephant was the long-range unit that I think they had the ISU-122, and then the Axis had the Elephant, and it was so fun to use. It was so good. Anyway, Panzergren engaging rifles late, just showing how bad they are. Because rifles late, they're not particularly good at long range. Like, they do have 2 BARs, but the DP is just so bad in comparison, and the rifles of course have the M1 Garand, so yeah, it was not ideal. Anyway, up to 21-11 as Grim Guy continues to make ground on left with Martin here. I'm pushing up on the right with James now as well. Got some Panzergrens leading the charge. Got the Jagdpanzers and Stugs further up. Kind of difficult for us to push over the ridge with these kinds of vehicles because they will be easily side shot if they do. But I do have the infantry that are going to be able to sort of lead the charge over the hill, so that's okay. And I've got another one reinforcing there. I've also got the bombers, of course, when they're off cooldown to help us out if needs be. All the while, throughout the game, I was using my SK-18 to counter battery, and I've also now brought up a bunch of 150s that are going to be doing the same thing, kind of just help shut down enemy artillery for the rest of the game. AA still firing away, actually getting the Flak Panzer Panther and the T-34 further up now, so they can help support against any of this infantry, or any of this aircraft, sorry, that end up flying overhead. That Hurricane, really slow, gonna be taking a lot of fire, does end up getting shot down. On the right, 17 pounders tries to sneak forwards. Probably the best bet that Lithington has at this point to kill any of this armour. They could also focus their aircraft on this side if they wanted to, but again there, another 17 pounder showing as it sneaks forwards. Going to come under fire though from an MG42. It's going to take the Jagdpanzer with it. Panzergren's also going to be able to get shots on target with the double MG at close range. Get it pinned down just in time before it fires another shot. Now 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Panzergren's moving up to support James on the hill here as well. I still got this Panzergren across the bridge. Jagdpanzer covering the road there against the Rhino. And the Rhino, it may have 120 mils of frontal armour, but the Jagdpanzer does have a better gun than the Stug. It's got the 145 mils of penetration. For the longest time, the Jagdpanzer used to only have 130 mils, 135 mils of penetration, same as the Stug, but they gave it the better gun that it had at this time in the war. Now it has that little bit extra, and it's good enough to get through that front armour eventually. Panzergrens do manage to get rid of a Jeep. Unfortunately don't kill this one fast enough, so the air landing actually get out, and at close range the air landing get better than the Panzergrens. So that's not very good for me. Because the air landing in this situation can use all of their weapons. They can use the Sten, they can use the Lee Enfield, they can use the Bren. Whereas the Panzergrens with the DP can't use their DP at close range, because it's not an automatic rifle. Panzergren DP, get pinned down by the Centaur, get forced out. Anyway, Rangers in the close range here, super scary for me to deal with. Thankfully they didn't go for this Panzergren just yet. But recon plane going to be coming in. It's still alive. This is the same off-map plane that I brought in at the start of the game. Still there. Obviously I haven't really been using it much because it's quite weak. It's only good in situations where there's absolutely no AA. Mortar fire coming in to help support James's infantry. His Valkyr here are actually in a really good position because they have the MP44s. I just got to hope that I don't accidentally pin down his infantry too much with that mortar strike. Centaur is going to get killed. On the right, the Ju-87s are coming in. I think he's going to call it. BF-109's coming in for the P-38. My poor, poor off-map plane is going to go down at the end. BF-109s will avenge it, but a sad end to an absolute champion of a unit. Ju-87's going in for the bombing strikes. Do manage to get them off, and that's going to end the game. There we go. Minor victory, 48 minutes, 42 seconds, and what a game it was. Really, really fun. Great stuff indeed. I think he probably should have played a bit of a better division, because he probably wouldn't have had as much of a hard time on the left side. But yeah, in the mid, a really nice back and forth. At the start, we really got put on the back foot, and we had to make an effort to come back, and we managed to do it. So yeah, really happy with how that turned out. Fun to play the 20th Panzer with those elephants, with the flag panzers, and with the Tiger and stuff like that. I don't think I actually ended up bringing out the Tiger in the end, but yeah, a really cool division. And you can see here, this is why the Flak Panzer Panther is probably one of the best AA units in the game. It killed a lot of aircraft. It killed 4 IL-237s, killed 2 Beaufighter Mark 10s, it killed the Mosquito, it killed a Typhoon, a Tempest, a P-38, and a Hurricane Mark IV. The T-34 variant didn't do as well, but still killed quite a lot. It killed Tempest, a Typhoon, 2 P-47s, so there's that. And then, of course, the Elephants, they did pretty well for me this game. The Challengers and IS-2 kills. IS-2 there. The Stugs and Jagdpanzers actually did okay. And, yeah. Oh, the counter battery was also doing a good job. SK-105 actually killed a Katyusha in the end. So, yeah, not bad. Off map definitely hurt early on and put us again on the back foot for a lot of the early game. The 203mm from Elay here. But knowing that that had come down, as well as the 381mm from Lithenton early on, it meant that they didn't have the extra cards for the late game that would have really helped us, or helped pin us down for longer, I think. So, yeah, we managed to get away with that one. A fantastic game. Really, really good fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.